Hey y'all, welcome back. Welcome to a new video. Today we're going to talk about one of my absolute favorite creators, Louise Poston. If you are not familiar with Hannah, you should be. She's amazing. She has come out with a collab with Salt New York, making these absolutely beautiful desaturated nude quads. So the way I should explain this, Hannah is very fair. She is a very silver undertone, olive, like her undertones are just crazy. She is gorgeous. And she's always looking for like the most desaturated, non-orange leaning cheek products. Recently, within the last year or so, I have come to terms with the fact that while I'm not olive undertoned, am still a lot more fair and a lot more neutral, which is why a lot of blushes pull very pink on me. And sometimes I don't mind that, but sometimes I really do. And these blushes that Hannah has come out with are they are desaturated. One of them barely shows up on me, and I am not the lightest of the light, but I'm fair. I am fair. Now, I do want to share these blushes all sort of resemble Lust. This is an Inner Glow Cream Pigment from Ritual de Fille. This is a shade that I have loved for a very long time, but it is much more saturated than any of these. So she has come out with a light quad, a medium quad, and a deep quad. And they are all versions of warm, neutral, and cool. She also has highlighters, and this formula is a lot different than the traditional Salt New York formula. Salt New York is a balm-based company. So these are their other products. This is in my Project Pan. This is their Sneaky Balm. All of these are very thin, kind of oily because they are a balm. Balm implies that it is an oil-based product. They don't have a lot of grip to them. And I've also noticed on me that the cheek products don't have the most staying power. They're not really meant to. These are not meant to be really put it through the test, wear it to an event. These are meant for like, oh, I'm going out for the afternoon and I just want to feel a little bit more put together. And they're perfect for that. They are perfect for that. These have a little bit more tenacity. They have a little bit more grip. They're a little thicker. And I really like this formula compared to Kiki G, the owner of Salt New York's other cheek products. These are also meant to be for the lips. On me, they make my lips peel. So I will not be putting them on my lips. I'm going to try and put all 8 of these on my cheeks. Maybe I'll do 4 on one side and 4 on the other. And at the end, we'll just do cheek swatches. I am wearing foundation, a little bit of concealer, and some eyebrows. I am, I guess, testing a foundation that's been in my collection for a while. You will see that video coming up. I'm going to pull my hair back because it's driving me bonkers today. All right, so we're going to start with this lightest quad. I'm going to pop these out so I can swatch them and give you all the names. And of course, I just did my nails. So I'm going to be using my, by the way, this is Thunder Snow from Cleona. It was a Polish Pickup Limited, and it's stunning. It's stunning. All right, so the lightest of the light is Teasel. This is also the warmest, I believe. We then have, I can't remember, Old Gum. So Old Gum is a blush that Hannah has been trying to make for a long time. Something that is barely there, barely decipherable as a blush. But again, on her very pale olive skin, it's not going to turn orange. It's just going to be this ruddy, beautiful. And on me, Old Gum barely shows up, but we're definitely going to play with it. And then Waxwing. So here we have a warm, a neutral, and a cool. We then have her highlighter. which I have been striving for this glowy, wet look cheek for a long time, and I have found things that I like. Nothing compares to this one. Nothing compares to this highlight. So that is the lightest quad. I did purchase the lightest quad in full. So I also did buy some other pans. You can see that this one has been well loved. This is Oyster Fig. It is my favorite out of this whole collection. It is the ruddy brown raisin shades. All of these have that raisiny undertone that I have loved for a long time. Going back to the beginning of my channel, I did an entire overhead video that was over an hour just swatching my raisin makeup. Orchid. So Orchid is slightly warmer. It's got a little bit more of an orange. Got more of like an orange / green thing to it, but it is still really pretty. Some of these are from the middle and some of these are from the deeper. Now, I do kind of wish I'd stuck with the original 4 that I purchased. I went down the rabbit hole and was like, okay, I need to try most of them. Now, there are 12 pans in this entire collection. I have 8 of them. This is Aniseed. Aniseed is one of the darkest and one of the coolest. And last but not least is Corduroy. Now, these don't look like they've been used, but they have been. I've just been loving other things. So you can see there, they do kind of run together as they get deeper, but they're all stunning. So we're going to start with the lighter shades and then we'll build on top of those. And by the time I'm done, I will have an entire face full of blush. And as I use them, I will be putting them back. Salt New York's reusable palettes, this one has been used, it's a little dirty, are amazing. I know that they've recently been re-released in black, but I have a ton of them in this like gray taupe, and I'm fine with that. They don't show fingerprints. The black ones, oh my God, the black ones would get so dirty. All right, so I tend to like using these with a BK 109. It just really picks up and distributes the product beautifully. I also do have a sponge. I gotta say, the aesthetics behind this launch are just amazing. Like, I want to be Hannah when I grow up. All right, we're gonna go in first. Okay, I have zoomed y'all in. See, normally, today is President's Day when I'm filming. Normally Mondays I get very excited for because I get up and I get dressed and I go to the ceramic studio. But today is President's Day, so the studio is closed and my brain is like, what do I do? I'm bored. I don't have doctor's appointments. I really don't have much going on. So let's sit down and play with blush. All right, so Old Gum. So this just looks like it could be, it's barely there. It is a gorgeous, barely there blush. Maybe what I'll do is I'll swatch each of these and then I'll use the stick foundation to cover them and we'll start over. Yeah, that works. Old Gum. It really is. It's so sophisticated. And it does build. You can really get a nice amount of color out of it. But this is for the absolute palest of the pale. All right, next is going to be Waxwing. I'm going to wipe off my brush. Not that it really matters because we're going in order of depth. Although I think Waxwing, no, it's a little. Now I have to be careful with some of these because if they have too much blue in them, they can look like a bruise on me more than a blush. These are so gorgeous. They're just so easily usable. They feel intuitive. And from what I understand, these are not limited edition. These are still available in the store. She didn't want to have a, you know, you have to buy these now because they're only going to last so long. I'm using the Dior Stick Foundation, by the way. I've had this a long time, like more than a year. And I don't know if I ever actually reviewed it. So I've been playing with it, and I will have a video coming out of things that I've had to review and just haven't reviewed, because sometimes that happens. That's actually how this video started. Teasel. I love the names of these. They're botanical, but they're whimsical, and they're just fun. So Teasel is one of the lighter ones that is fine. It's not one that I love. It's a little bit, I think I like Old Gum. Old Gum is probably my favorite out of this quad. But that is Teasel. It is lovely. It is a very pretty blush. It is one that I will use because I like to use color theory and temperature when I put on blush. So putting on a warmer blush in the front and then a cooler tone in the back makes your cheek appear a little fuller and gives your face a little bit more dimension. All right, so this is Nimue. This is just, I have never seen a highlighter like this. It is a taupe, so it really does like just blend into the skin. But look at that shine. Look at that. It's just, it is the wet look cheek of my dreams. Now, these don't dry down completely, like I mentioned earlier, but they do have a little bit more of a tack and they have a little bit more tenacity. And they do maintain their presence on the skin. Gosh darn, look at her. She is a stunner of a blush, or of a highlighter. All right, let's get into some of these deeper shades. So, Oyster Fig. This one, if you look at that pan, it's got a dip. It's got a dip. I've been using this one a lot because it's just my favorite. If I could only keep 4 of these, this would be one of them. Old Gum, Nimue, and Waxwing. I think those were the first 4 that I ordered anyway. And then they arrived and I went back and ordered some deeper shades. Oyster Fig. I think given my hair and my contrast level, this one just absolutely takes the cake. It's so flattering. It works with my eyes. It does match a lot of my lips. I'm not wearing a lip color. I'm just wearing the Ulla Henriksen Plumping Lip Balm. But hot damn, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. And can't nobody tell me it's not. It's gorgeous. All right, Orchid. I don't remember where all of these fall in the table of light, medium, deep, and warm, neutral, cool. She has this absolutely gorgeous chart that I will pop up at the end while we're talking about these. That is Orchid. I kind of feel like Orchid looks like a bit of a bruise on me. I think it's a little too cool and maybe a hit too deep. Although I have a friend this would be absolutely stunning on. But I've given her so much makeup. I'm sure if I come at her with more, she'd be like, no more makeup. It is really pretty though. I just have to be careful about how much I put on and where I put it. I feel like if I get too low in the cheek, it can start looking like a bruise. If I keep it high enough and I round it off, but yeah, it's a lovely, lovely blush. Oh, last two are aniseed and corduroy. These are two I probably could have done without because they are a little harder for me to wear. I feel like any cheek product can work as long as you know how to make it work. But that is rather a bruise shade on me. It really is. I'm hesitant to wear it because I haven't quite figured out how to balance it. I'm sure layering waxwing or old gum over it would help warm it up. Maybe teasel because it's got a little more brown to it, but I'm not sure. That is something that I will have to play with and get back to y'all on. And then corduroy. Now, from my memory, I believe corduroy is a little warmer. And I did do a blush swatching video. I did not swatch these because I knew I would be filming this. Corduroy is a little easier for me to wear because it is a warmer / neutral shade. So that's corduroy, and that is aniseed. Yeah, aniseed is just a little too brown. It's a little too blue. It's got more blue in it than I'm usually comfortable wearing. All right, I am gonna go through one more round of cover up and then we'll cheek swatch all of these. We'll do face swatching so we can see all of these against each other. So right down the middle of my nose, we're gonna do Nimue. Ooh, look at Nimue. It is an absolutely spectacular highlighter. It's lovely. And then working out teasel. Old gum. Waxwing. So there you can see warm, neutral, cool. We then have oyster fig, which I feel like I'm close to hitting pan on. That is oyster fig. Corduroy. Orchid. And aniseed. You see how that one is just so much more brown and so much more cool, where you can see the warmth in these guys. That was just a bit too much for me. But you can see the thought process here in all of these blushes. They have such a unique point of view that I can't help but love them all, even the deep one. This could be an interesting one to really play with and figure out how to get it to work for me. This might work as a little bit of a contour because it does have a little more depth to it. Who knows? But I am enjoying playing with these. Oyster fig is something that I'm going to have to replace maybe by the end of the year. I don't know. I use this a lot. I use oyster fig a lot, especially when I'm not filming. When I'm just leaving the house for the afternoon, I'll throw on oyster fig. That and Nimue have been living in my everyday, my Salt New York palette. I was just storing mauve in here temporarily. But yeah, Oyster Fig and Nimue have been living in this palette, and I'm going to put them back where they live because I reach for these more than anything else. And maybe what I should do is put together a little quad that has some other shades that I want to play with. Do one more. And these just, they blend so nicely. They look like nothing on the skin. And I have to say, this Dior foundation is doing an amazing job at blending these all out. These all ring a little bit familiar in Lust. Lust is just, it's a little more pink, it's a little more orange, but it is raisin. It has that brown, beige rustiness to it that I adore in a cheek product. All right, blushes I want to put in this palette. Old Gum. I want to put the warmer shades in here, or the lighter shades in here for certain, for sure. So Teasel, Old Gum, and Waxwing. And then which one from these do I want to play with? Orchid. Orchid was the other one I wanted to play with. So there we go. Now I've got a little custom quad. I am so excited by this collection. It is unique. It is just completely different to anything we have seen on the market. It's done with such elegance and such deference that I love that Hannah created something that is so unapologetically her, and yet it has spoken to a lot of people outside of her. It has just been something that the makeup market has been clamoring for, are these lighter, desaturated, beigey, purpley browns that don't have any orange in them, that don't have certain red pigments that are gonna make things look orange on certain people. Now, I'm fortunate in that I'm pretty neutral, but that isn't to say I don't absolutely love these. So that is going to do it. Overall, I love these. If you are someone who is fairer complected, hell, even deeper complexions can wear these, and you've been looking for a more neutral blush, check out Salt New York. This is not sponsored. I just really love Salt New York. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I really appreciate it. I hope you are taking care of yourselves so you can take care of each other. I'll see you all in my next one. Bye, friends.